Now,
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07. It's our fourth hour of 4 indescribable hours of broadcast excellence. By the way, if you missed any of it, well, you missed us speaking with Mike Clancy, the nominee for Virginia 10. You missed us just speaking with Governor Glenn Youngkin. Why don't you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss anything again? Also, coming up in 30 minutes, you won't want to miss our conversation with Derrick Anderson, who's now the Republican nominee for the 7th District of Virginia. By the way, when I say we, I mean me and, well, she, Julie Gunlock, who just got a very special shout-out from Governor Youngkin about all the great work you're doing on the Title IX bus tour. Does he not know that I was with you on the Title IX bus tour? Is that...
He was praising the wonderful team at IWF for everything they've done on Title
As well,
IX.
you deserve all of those, all of that praise as well. All right, let's get right to it. He is now officially the nominee for the United States Senate for the Republican Party. And guys, it wasn't even close. He is the next senator from Virginia, Hung Cao. Congratulations, Hung Cao.
Oh, thank you so much, Larry and Julie. This has been great. But, I have the ultimate target mom. So, if I called her and I said, Mom, I won every district, and they called the race. I won every, county in Virginia, and they called the race in 14 minutes. She's like, yes, but you lost Emporia by 30 points, 30 votes, And
this is great.
I mean, we don't. Yeah, we don't celebrate things. We just move on to the next challenge, which is.
I love her.
That's right. Absolutely. We got to hold you accountable, Hung. Well, listen, I screwed up the introduction. I apologize. Let me do this again. Joining us right now is a MAGA extremist who looks out for himself first, not Virginians. That's how Tim Kaine described you. Boy, it seems like, listen, Tim Kaine, they've been marshaling their forces against you with a smear campaign for many months now. We've all seen it happening. Are you ready for this race? Because, boy, by the time this is over, they're going to make you seem like a serial killer.
Oh, I know. And that's what they do, right? They can't stand on their own policies. And this is historic because, first of all, I'll be the first Vietnamese-American U.S. Senator who will be inaugurated on the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon.
Wow.
But it's also on the heels of Joe Biden signing amnesty for 500,000 illegal immigrants, right? I mean, so someone who came here legally is going to basically stand up and say, whoa, this is not the right thing. Basically you're giving them a clear pathway, and everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, I was married to this person for 10 years. And this is exactly what we're trying to fight against.
Tim Kaine is the ultimate establishment candidate. He's the ultimate insider, the sort of Clinton Webb, who was totally silent during COVID, totally absent, never once helped a parent, and recently did a Terry McAuliffe moment, said parents really shouldn't have a role in their children's education. How are you going to convey to Virginia parents how much work you did during those years to advocate for parents and to expose the rot at some of these sort of Northern Virginia school boards and how they disregard the role of parents in children's lives?
Julie, you're absolutely right. We have an entire generation of kids that cannot catch up. And, I feel bad for these kids who missed out on their proms and their graduations. And then now that these are the same kids that are almost graduating this year, and they got, sidelined by all these pro-Hamas guys. So it's just been really hard on this generation of kids. And we need to make sure that they're ready for the real world, because, it's a hard world out there. And we can't, these parents who grew up, everybody got a trophy growing up. They're now the parents, and they're saying, "Oh, it's okay. You don't have to get triggered by these guys." And so we need to fight back against them.
We're speaking with Hung Cao. He's the Republican nominee for the United States Senate. He'll be squaring off against Tim Kaine. And Julie just described Tim Kaine, and you could have used the exact same description for Terry McAuliffe, who was defeated. We were told that he was a shoo-in. There was no defeating Terry McAuliffe as he ran, but he was defeated by our guest we just spoke to, Governor Glenn Youngkin. And he showed us the way. Just point out the extreme positions that your opponent has. They try to paint themselves as these moderates and reasonable guys. But Tim Kaine not only supports abortion right up until the moment of birth, but he's on board with the Biden agenda to rewrite Title IX and allow men to play women's sports. Hung, this is a great issue, I think, for you to jump on board with and try to protect women's sports. That means a lot to the voters of Virginia.
Oh, absolutely. Look, biological men do not belong in women's prisons, women's shelters, or women's sports. I have 3 daughters. I'm not going to have them, compete against a biological male. It's just not how it got intended.
Well, and honestly, Senator Kaine can't weasel out of this, because if he does, that means he's in opposition of Joe Biden. So he's married to this, whether he likes it or not.
No, that's exactly it. He tries to play the moderate, but let's look at all of his voting policies and everything he's done. He's been the silent force behind all these things, and it's basically time to pay up. I mean, let's put our what you stand for on the table, and let's let the voters choose. And I'm telling you right now, all across Virginia, people are just tired. Stay away from our businesses, stay out of our homes, and stay away from our kids.
You got the Trump endorsement several weeks ago, and certainly, President Trump, when he lines up with somebody, he generally does it because he's quite confident in their abilities. So tell me what you think the next several months is going to look like here. As we just spoke with Rich Anderson yesterday, he's meeting with the RNC today. As of now, Biden and Trump are tied in Virginia. How in play is Virginia, and how much are you hoping to be able to campaign with former President Trump?
Well, he's definitely making Virginia a battleground state, so he's moving a team here, and we've been in contact with them, and we have a game plan to win Virginia back. Virginia is really a red state. It's just we can't let the noise from Northern Virginia, these little outlier groups, to overshadow what all of Virginia is. We believe in God, family, and country, and these guys don't.
Hung, there's one other thing you told the Associated Press last night. I find this to be a fascinating comment, and I'd love for you to expand on it. You said, if you want the nice guy up there, I'm not your guy. If you want somebody to go in and kick some tail, I'm your guy that's going to get this done. Tim Kaine's going to run like that. He's going to, you know me. You've known me for decades. I've been your governor, and now I'm your senator, and I'm nice Tim Kaine. And I don't, and it sounds like you're not trying to out-nice Tim Kaine. You're actually fine. You can be the nice guy, but you have no interest in being nice. You want to actually be effective.
No, that's exactly it. I think America is tired of these beta males. Right, these leaf eaters. I mean, we need people that are, we need carnivores in there. I'm sorry, it's just. You might call it toxic masculinity, whatever you want to call it. The fact is that they want people that are going to get things done. Stop sitting around.
I believe Hung Kao just called Senator Tim Kaine a soy boy.
I believe
is that what
so.
Is that what's happening here?
Woo!
Sure. If that's what you want to call them, that's fine. The thing is that
okay, don't weasel out of this now, Hung. You're already down this path.
Hung Kao is channeling his mom right now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, listen. You want to go to hungforva.com, hungforva.com, or you can text Hung HUNG to 21412. You want to get updates on this campaign. He's going to be all over the Commonwealth, and he's going to need your help. Listen, it's time to get serious about this. There's way too much at stake, and we got to get that Senate, and this is a winnable. And wait, talk about earth-shattering. Talk about an absolute jolt to the establishment if Hung Kao can send Tim Kaine packing once and for all. Hung, congratulations again, and we look forward to many conversations between now and Election Day.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Larry and Julie. Have a great day.
Hungforva.com. That's I like how this ticket is shaped.
He's great.
I can see the rallies right now, Julie, with President Trump, Governor Youngkin, Hung Kao, Derrick Anderson.
Hung Kao eating a steak raw.
That's right. Right.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live.
From the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Miss anything? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Get today's breaking news on the Vince Colonnese Show, weekdays 3 to 6, right here on WMAL.
We have an update of sorts on the killer Cujo monster that was President Biden's dog, Commander. As you know, he had a dog called Major. That dog was biting Secret Service agents left and right, drawing blood. They sent Major out to a farm. You know what happens when a dog gets sent to a farm.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they brought in Commander, a rescue dog. And I just want to reiterate, it is so despicable that for the political purpose of having photos on an Instagram account, they foisted this rescue dog, German Shepherd, that these are dogs that require serious handling and training.
Yes. Yes.
And they gave this dog to an 81-year-old man who's got a pretty busy full-time job.
Who also has a pretty bad track record of raising things.
Thank you. Yes, dogs and human beings alike.
Yeah.
And Meredith wants us to get a dog. And I keep saying our lifestyle does not lend itself to a dog. We cannot devote the time required to raise a dog. And I would like to think a lot more time on my hands than the President of the United States. But they got this Commander in there just so he can take pictures wearing his aviators with a really cool, fierce-looking dog, because this guy is all about presentation to the world of who he is. And of course, Commander starts biting Secret Service agents. We've learned through FOIA requests from Tom Fitton at Judicial Watch that there were multiple incidents, including shedding blood throughout the White House. Now we've learned that they had to suspend tourists from getting tours of the White House so that they could clean up the blood associated with one of the attacks, Julie. And then, you talk about a cover-up, the Secret Service deleted the video footage from the surveillance cameras associated with that attack.
Kidding. My God. Is that even legal?
One wonders. I don't know exactly what they're protecting or who they're protecting. But according to this, Daily Mail has written this up. The Secret Service destroyed a video that captured President Joe Biden's dog Commander chomping down on one of its agents in an attack that forced the White House to shut down tours so blood could be wiped off the floor.
You know, this is, I mean, it is just so horrible to think of the cruelty to this animal, because animals who are not handled right, or not given the levels of exercise that they need, or good food, or care and loving and nurturing, this is what happens. And again, this dog is a prop.
It's cruelty across the board, whether it's to the dog, which I agree with you, and also let's not forget, the victim here, the Secret Service agent.
Of course.
The video purportedly showed Commander running at a high rate of speed and jumping toward the agent in the East Wing's Kennedy Garden, leaving a deep bite on the individual's left arm that reportedly needed stitches. East Wing tours were, I'm quoting now from an email, East Wing tours were stopped for approximately 20 minutes due to blood from the incident being on the floors in the area of the booksellers. The Secret Service's Freedom of Information Act officer Kevin Terrell wrote to Daily Mail in a letter that due to Secret Service retention standards, the above-mentioned file, the video file, has been destroyed. I guess the Secret Service has rules in place that if an agent is injured on the job, that so that video can't be exploited in some way, that video is deleted. But this sounds purely political to me.
Well, the whole getting a dog is for political reasons, but I have to say it's kind of interesting to me that he chose this that the Biden family, whether it was Jill or Joe, I don't know, but they chose this particular dog, a dog that can actually be dangerous. And these are wonderful dogs if they are trained and treated appropriately. These are wonderful dogs. But again, without the proper care and training, these dogs can become quite difficult and quite dangerous. And it just is interesting to me that they chose this dog, a dog, again, that can become dangerous. Why not pick something a little bit more manageable, or something like a golden retriever or a lab that is known to be much more gentle and more patient, without that kind of care. So they are such a strange family. They are such strange people, putting their Secret Service in danger. It just proves that they don't care. They're the ultimate narcissists. They don't care. Again, it's for optics. It's for looks. I don't know if they thought, getting Commander, what was the other dog's name? The first dog? Major. Getting this kind of dog would give him some sort of serious presence. I don't know. But again, these dogs are very dangerous if not properly trained and cared for. And they put their Secret Service in danger, as we've seen from these.
Joe Biden is a weak, decrepit, ineffective man.
Immoral.
and he got this big, ferocious German Shepherd to make himself look like a badass.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Secret Service agents are bitten routinely because of it, and he mocks them and laughs at it and accuses them of lying about these attacks.
Yep.
He is a horrible human being. I've said it before. I will continue to say it. Don't ever believe the kindly Uncle Joe, everybody loves Joe bull that they throw at you. He is an awful man and has always been an awful man. If you don't believe me, ask the family of Clarence Thomas and how they treated him, or Robert Bork, or anyone else who has had encounters with Joe Biden. He is a jerk. He always has been. It's 8:23.
Now,
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:36. Coming up in 30 minutes, we hand it off to Chris Plant for the Chris Plant Show. It's Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. And Julie, we have yet another Republican nominee heading into the general election. He was victorious in the hotly contested 7th Congressional District of Virginia. He is Derrick Anderson. Well, Derrick, congratulations. You won it. You won it pretty handily, actually.
Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to come on your show throughout the primary. But we're ready. We're ready to get into gear and start working to win this thing in November.
And you got a pretty big, high-profile congratulations from your fellow Green Beret, Mike Waltz, congressman from Florida. Is it fair to say that you will be similar in the way he approaches his job, as you have so much in common, and he is one of the real stalwart fighters there for conservative values and especially for our military?
Yeah, Larry, Mike's always been a good friend and a mentor to me. Obviously he's a fellow Green Beret, and there's a few other Green Berets out there that are running. I know of one that won their primary as well. Mike always jokes with me whenever he talks to me or speaks to me, and he's like, I need more fighters in D.C. to help me fix the problem. So, Mike, one of the things that, and I'm very clear and transparent with people because I stole it from Mike, but Mike always makes a very interesting point that, our current makeup of our Congress right now, both on the Senate and the House side, is one of the lowest it's been of veterans. So when we look at, what's going on in Congress, the ability to get things done, the ability to craft creative solutions to get problems fixed. Veterans are just uniquely positioned to do that. And they're leaders, right? They're always, they have a leadership aspect of them. But if you look back after the 70s, after Vietnam, we look after World War II, our Congress is comprised of about 70+% of veterans. Whereas now, after 20 years of war in Iraq and Afghanistan, our Congress is just over 16 or 17% composition comprised of veterans. So if you look at sometimes when people are scratching their heads saying, why can't DC get anything done? I think it's important that we have veterans up there because they're able to fix things. They're able to come up and get solutions done because we see a common good, right? We always are looking to our left and right. We're doing it for our soldiers and people that we want to support. So I think that's really important, and I appreciate Mike's support, and I appreciate him giving me the shout out.
I'm really interested in how you're going to approach Vindman. He is going to say, I too am a veteran. And not only that, I worked at the White House. I know how Washington works, which frankly for me is not something to brag about. But he is going to use that. He is going to say, I can get things done. I have the experience necessary. How do you respond to that? Well,
Julie, Vindman's biggest gripe, what it appears, well, first, I don't know where Vindman stands on issues, right? I truly don't. The only thing I hear him stomp up and down about and what his whole campaign appears to have been launched off of was a gripe with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
His whole campaign appears to be a political revenge tour against Donald Trump, and it's pretty self-serving. Whereas me, I'm from the 7th Congressional District. This is where I grew up. This is where I spent the first 20 years of my life. This is before I went to school and joined the Army and became a Green Beret. I worked in my mom's local restaurants. When you're walking around Spotsylvania County and throughout the district, I cannot throw a rock without someone being like, hey, are you Susan's boy? You're Susan's boy, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I am. That's my mom. So I have deep roots here, and so when I see Mr. Vindman and his campaign essentially being a gripe with Donald Trump, I look at it from, I'm here to support and represent the people of the 7th District, the people that raised me, my home. That's what I want to do. I'm here to make sure that it's more affordable to live, and it's not costing the average Virginia family here in the Commonwealth $1,100 more a month. I want to make sure that our border is secure. We don't see what we just saw recently where 2 illegal immigrants posing from Jordan, posing as Amazon drivers, are trying to breach the front gate of Marine Corps Base Quantico. Those are the things that I care about, where Mr. Vindman's campaign appears to be more self-serving and having a gripe with Donald Trump. So I think that is a big distinguishing characteristic between them.
I think you nailed that. Mr. Vindman, by the way, likes to fashion himself as a fighter for democracy. He says, new mission, preserve democracy. I think democracy is an important thing to preserve as well. I wonder, since you've got quite a record fighting for democratic values and freedom all around the world, Mr. Anderson, if you could probably talk about some of the things that you're concerned about here at home with regard to our system, our freedoms, our liberties, our way of life, that maybe Mr. Vindman isn't quite focused on in the same way that you might be.
Well, like I said, Larry, a lot of times when you look at what Mr. Vindman stands for and the policy that he stands for, he doesn't really put anything out there. It's kind of a blank slate. So you have to defer to Joe Biden's policies.
Yeah.
And so we look at right now, I was just talking with a little girl. She wrote me a letter. It's the sweetest thing probably I've ever seen in my life. But a little girl named Ella wrote me a letter, sent it to me. She actually hand wrote a letter and sent it to me in the mail. And in the letter, it was this, amazing. She said, thank you so much. My family got your flyer. Thank you to our veterans. By the way, Derrick, can you fix the government because and make them stop spending so much money? Because my mom can't buy snacks right now. Ella sent me a letter saying that her mom can't buy snacks, and I drove to their house. They live here in Spotsylvania County. I drove to their house, and I spoke to her mom and dad, and they said, look, Derrick, we can afford our mortgage. We can afford to take the kids to soccer. We can afford to put food on the table, but we can't catch up. We can't put money away for savings right now. We can't put money away for our kids and their college educations because it's just too expensive to live. So again, while Mr. Vindman wants to make platitudes right now, I'm focused on actual results, things that can get us back on track as a country and help make people in the 7th Congressional District, make it more affordable for them to live, make it more secure, make our community safe, make sure that the border isn't sending millions of illegal immigrants with fentanyl criminal activity. I want to make sure that the 7th Congressional District, my home, is well taken care of in Congress.
Amen.
Derrick Anderson, we're going to have a lot of conversations between now and Election Day. We look forward to having you on a regular basis. He is the nominee for the Virginia 7. It's going to be an incredibly expensive race. So if you want to lend a hand, go to DerrickAnderson.com, DerrickAnderson.com. At the very least, sign up for alerts so you know what the campaign is doing, and then they can be responsive to you if you live in Virginia 7. Thank you, Derrick. Congratulations, and we'll talk to you soon.
Larry and Julie, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, guys.
The passing of a legend, Willie Mays, known as the Say Hey Kid. He played for the San Francisco Giants most of his career, but then finished with the New York Mets after the Giants moved out west, and he wanted to come back home to New York. Shocking. I find this amazing that Willie Mays played all the way through 1973.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Willie Mays passed away at the age of 93, and he's often called, I never got to see him play, but I've seen video and film of him. They call him one of the greatest all-around players ever. Look at these. When he retired, he held the National League record for career runs scored. He ranked second in the league for games played, third with home runs and at-bats and runs batted in and extra base hits and walks, fourth in hits, fifth in slugging percentage, eighth in doubles. And, oh, by the way, one of his most memorable highlights had nothing to do with his hitting. It had to do with an incredible catch. That catch in center field over his shoulder.
Yes.
And anyway, anyone who looks at remembers or has seen any descriptions of the Polo Grounds where the New York Giants played, it had this deep, deep, deep center field. And he covered it like nobody else. He ended his
1954.
career behind only Ty Cobb in total games as an outfielder. Seriously, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, all-around baseball player ever.
Yeah, he became the first black team captain of the Major League. He was National League MVP, MLB All-Star, and he got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. He received 409 out of 432 votes. Popular guy.
Yeah. Also, he served his country well as a member of the United States Army. In 1951, he had to suspend his playing career as he was drafted to serve in the Korean War. And he reported to Fort Eustis in Virginia, by the way, where he spent much of his time playing on the military baseball teams with other major league players. That's where he learned that famous basket catch from a teammate in the Army. He missed about 266 games because of his military service. He was discharged and went right into spring training for the Giants and was the National League MVP that next season. What a guy, and what a loss. They don't make him like that anymore. Willie Mays, the Say Hey kid, dead at the age of 93. It's 8:52. That's a wrap. Julie Gunlock, thank you so much. In comes Christopher Plant. Christopher, how are you, sir?
Very well, very well. Having a wonderful morning. The roads, Washington, D.C., practically empty. It's a federal holiday, you know, and so the building is empty and the streets are empty, and that's kind of nice. And Joe Biden,
you're here.
Joe Biden's brain is empty. Yeah, sure, we're here. Because, you know, that's what we do.
It's really all that matters.
That's right. Yeah, so murder mayhem across the country. The Democrats are instigating it, inciting it. They don't seem to care about human life. Joe Biden with more gaffes yesterday. President Trump with a big rally where he brought a bunch of it up. And the news media is very angry with him because people that know